Welcome to the channel. Today, we're diving into one of the most profound and life-changing philosophies, the wisdom of Stoicism, and how it can radically transform your relationships. Have you ever felt like you're giving too much of yourself in a relationship? Maybe you're losing your sense of purpose, or sacrificing your values to keep the peace. Well, you're not alone, and today we're going to explore how Stoic principles can help you navigate relationships with strength, self-respect, and clarity. By the end of this video, you'll understand why it's so important to maintain your independence, nurture your personal growth, and create relationships that empower both you and your partner. 1. Sacrificing personal freedom for approval. Have you ever found yourself saying yes when you really wanted to say no, just to avoid conflict or to please someone? Maybe you've canceled plans with friends because your partner wanted to do something else, or you've changed your views just to match theirs. It's easy to get caught in this cycle, thinking that by sacrificing your own desires, you're showing love and commitment. But here's the catch: Stoicism reminds us that true love and respect in relationships don't come from compromising our autonomy, they come from mutual respect and freedom to be ourselves. Imagine this: you're excited about a project or an event that's important to you, but you put it aside to accommodate someone else. Over time, this pattern becomes draining. You start losing pieces of yourself, your passions, and your interests. It might feel like you're keeping the peace, but in reality, you're trading your personal freedom for temporary approval. Stoicism teaches us that compromising our core values for someone else's approval doesn't just affect us, it affects the entire relationship. When we lose our freedom to express ourselves, we set the stage for resentment and disconnection. Think about the last time you bent over backward to make someone happy at your own expense. Maybe you pushed aside your own goals to support theirs, or you held back your opinions to avoid disagreements. While it might feel like you're being selfless, in truth, you're suppressing your individuality. True connection happens when both people can flourish independently, without fear of rejection or judgment. A Stoic relationship thrives on mutual growth and freedom, where both partners support each other's autonomy. Let's say you're in a situation where you're tempted to change your values or beliefs just to make someone happy. What would happen if you stayed true to yourself instead? Stoicism encourages us to pause and reflect: am I compromising my own values because I fear losing this relationship, or is this an expression of love and mutual respect? The strength of any relationship is built on the foundation of both people maintaining their independence and individuality. It's not about being selfish, it's about honoring your true self while respecting the other person's right to do the same. At the end of the day, a relationship where both partners retain their personal freedom is a relationship that has staying power. It's a bond that doesn't depend on approval or sacrifice, it depends on mutual respect. So, next time you find yourself about to compromise who you are for someone else, take a moment to ask: is this truly a choice made out of love and respect, or is it a reaction driven by the fear of rejection? Trust me, the most fulfilling relationships are those where both people are free to be themselves. And that freedom? That's what makes the bond so powerful. 2. Neglecting personal growth. How often do you find yourself putting someone else's needs before your own dreams and goals? It's easy to get caught up in the rhythm of a relationship, especially when you care deeply about someone. You might start sacrificing your own passions to support theirs, or give up on your own personal growth just to make your partner happy. But here's the thing: Stoicism teaches us that neglecting our own development doesn't just hurt us, it hurts the relationship too. Personal growth is the foundation of a healthy, balanced partnership. Without it, both individuals risk becoming stagnant and unfulfilled. Imagine you've been working hard towards a goal, maybe learning a new skill or working on a career path. But then, you're asked to let it go to support someone else's plans. You give in, thinking it's what a good partner does. But over time, you start to feel disconnected from your own purpose. It's like you've given away a piece of yourself. Stoicism reminds us that personal development is not a selfish pursuit, it's an essential one. When we grow, we don't just become better for ourselves, we become better for those around us, including our partners. Let's think about this for a second. The healthiest relationships are those where both people can continue to grow as individuals. You don't have to give up your goals or dreams to be a supportive partner. In fact, it's when you both continue to improve and evolve that the relationship thrives. Stoicism encourages us to never stop learning, growing, and becoming better versions of ourselves. When we put our personal growth first, we bring the best version of ourselves into our relationships, which creates a deeper, more fulfilling connection. Think about the last time you focused on your own self-improvement. Maybe you took a class, started a new hobby, or made progress in your career. How did it feel? Now, think about how that sense of accomplishment could benefit your relationship. When you grow as an individual, you bring more to the table. You have more to share, more wisdom to offer, and more depth to your connection. A relationship isn't about losing yourself, it's about growing together, supporting each other's journeys, and inspiring each other to become the best version of yourselves. At the end of the day, neglecting your personal growth is a disservice to both yourself and your relationship. A partnership where both people prioritize self-improvement is one where both individuals can flourish. So, remember, don't put your growth on hold. The more you invest in becoming the best version of yourself, the more you'll have to give to your relationship. After all, the strongest connections are built by two people who are constantly evolving, supporting each other's growth, and bringing out the best in each other. 3. Suppressing emotions. Have you ever held back your emotions in a relationship, thinking that staying quiet will prevent conflict? Maybe you've swallowed your anger, stifled your frustration, or buried your sadness to keep the peace. It feels like the right thing to do in the moment, right? But Stoicism teaches us that suppressing emotions doesn't bring peace, it only builds up resentment and distance. Stoicism encourages us to acknowledge our feelings, understand them, and communicate them constructively. Ignoring your emotions may seem like an easy way to avoid confrontation, but in reality, it only creates a ticking time bomb that will eventually explode. Imagine you've been upset with your partner for days. Maybe they've said something that hurt you, but instead of expressing how you feel, you brush it off, thinking it's better to avoid an argument. But then, as time passes, that unresolved emotion starts to fester. You feel more distant, more irritated, and maybe even disconnected from your partner. What started as a small disagreement has now become a barrier in your relationship. Stoicism teaches us that emotions are part of being human, and they're meant to be acknowledged, not buried. Ignoring them doesn't make them go away, it makes them worse. The Stoic approach isn't about suppressing emotions or pretending they don't exist. It's about understanding them and managing them in a healthy way. When you suppress your feelings, you deny yourself the opportunity to process them, which leads to internal conflict. But when you openly communicate your emotions, whether it's through a calm conversation or even journaling, you allow yourself the space to heal and grow. It's not about acting on impulse, but about responding with self-awareness and clarity. Think of it like this: if you bottle up your emotions, they're going to spill over eventually. But if you address them with patience and mindfulness, you prevent unnecessary buildup. This isn't just about avoiding conflict, it's about fostering deeper connections. When you express your emotions honestly and respectfully, you invite understanding and intimacy into the relationship. You show your partner that you trust them with your true feelings, and in return, you create a space where both of you can grow and communicate freely. At the end of the day, suppressing emotions only harms you and your relationships. The Stoic way is about balance, not denying your feelings, but not letting them control you either. Honest, open communication about emotions doesn't just avoid conflict, it strengthens your connection and deepens trust. When you express yourself authentically, you invite your partner to do the same, and that creates a foundation for a relationship built on mutual respect, understanding, and emotional freedom. 4. Losing independence. How often do you find yourself looking to someone else for your sense of happiness or self-worth? It's natural to want connection, but when we tie our happiness too tightly to another person, we risk losing ourselves. Seneca, one of the great Stoic philosophers, cautioned against relying on external sources, especially relationships, for our sense of well-being. True independence, he argues, comes from cultivating inner strength and contentment. When you're grounded in who you are, you're not seeking validation or happiness from anyone else. You're already complete. Imagine a tree whose roots are shallow, dependent on the surface soil for survival. When the wind blows or the weather shifts, that tree is vulnerable. But a tree with deep, strong roots can withstand any storm, because its strength is internal. Similarly, when we place our happiness and self-worth in the hands of others, we become like that tree with shallow roots. The slightest change in our relationship or the loss of external validation can knock us off balance. But when our happiness comes from within, we become more resilient, able to weather the ups and downs of life and relationships. Stoicism teaches us that true peace doesn't come from the outside, it comes from within. Cultivating internal fulfillment means focusing on your personal goals, your interests, and your values. When you find contentment within yourself, you stop depending on others to fill that void. Instead, you enter relationships as a whole person, with a foundation that's not easily shaken. Relationships, then, become a place of mutual support, not a place where we seek to find ourselves. This doesn't mean we shouldn't care about others or value our relationships, it means we should never let them define us. A strong, healthy relationship is one where both individuals are secure in who they are. They don't rely on each other for validation, instead, they bring their fullest selves to the table. This kind of independence doesn't create distance, it creates freedom. It's a freedom that allows both partners to grow individually, without feeling threatened or dependent on the other. In the end, the key to a lasting and fulfilling relationship is not about needing each other, it's about wanting each other. When we're independent, we don't seek approval or fulfillment from our partner. We already have it within ourselves. This kind of independence builds a stronger bond because we're coming together as two complete individuals, ready to support each other's growth. And that's the foundation of a relationship that can thrive and endure. 5. Committing to please her at the cost of your values. Have you ever found yourself agreeing to something, even though it goes against your own values or beliefs, simply to keep the peace or make your partner happy? It's a situation many of us have faced, giving up parts of ourselves in exchange for temporary affection. But what does this really achieve in the long run? Stoicism offers a powerful reminder: compromising your core values to please someone else ultimately weakens the foundation of your relationship. True connection isn't about bending yourself to fit someone else's expectations, it's about standing firm in who you are, while also respecting the other person's individuality. Imagine being asked to change your principles just to avoid conflict, or to pretend you like something you don't just to keep the peace. At first, it may feel like a small sacrifice for the sake of harmony. But over time, these compromises add up. Every time you push aside your own beliefs, you chip away at your integrity. And when integrity is lost, trust begins to crumble. A relationship built on this kind of foundation is fragile, because it lacks the one thing every lasting bond needs: mutual respect for each other's true selves. Stoicism teaches us that we must live in accordance with our nature, not someone else's. This doesn't mean being rigid or refusing to compromise, but it does mean being true to yourself in every situation. The Stoics, like Marcus Aurelius, taught that true strength lies in standing firm in your beliefs, even when it's difficult. Relationships, they argue, should be based on mutual understanding and respect for each other's values, not on forcing someone to change who they are to fit into your world. Think of it this way: your core values are like the pillars of a house. They support everything else in your life. If you start weakening or bending those pillars to fit someone else's design, the entire structure becomes unstable. On the other hand, when both partners maintain their integrity, the relationship becomes stronger. The courage to disagree, to say no when something doesn't align with your values, is not a weakness, it's a sign of self-respect. And this respect is what makes the relationship enduring and meaningful. So, the next time you're faced with a decision that challenges your values, take a step back and ask yourself, am I compromising for short-term approval, or am I staying true to myself? The Stoic wisdom encourages us to honor our authentic self, even when it's uncomfortable. Because when you stay true to who you are, you not only strengthen yourself, you strengthen your relationship. 6. Ignoring reason for passion. We've all been there. You're in the midst of a passionate moment, everything feels intense, thrilling, almost overwhelming. The heart races, emotions surge, and in that rush, it's easy to lose sight of logic. But here's the catch: when passion takes the wheel and leaves reason behind, it's like setting sail without a rudder. Passion might push you forward, but without guidance, it can just as easily send you crashing against the rocks. Stoicism teaches us that while passion is a powerful force, it must be balanced with reason. It's not about suppressing emotions or denying yourself the excitement of a passionate connection, but about maintaining clarity in the midst of it. Think of passion as the wind in a ship's sails. It can drive you fast, but without reason as your compass, it can just as easily send you off course. The Stoics, like Epictetus, remind us that while emotions are part of being human, they should never dictate our actions or decisions, especially when it comes to relationships. Consider a situation where you're swept up in a whirlwind romance. Everything feels so right in the moment. But, as things unfold, you begin to notice red flags, things that don't align with your core values or long-term goals. Passion might tell you to ignore these signs, to stay caught up in the heat of the moment, but reason is the one that asks, is this sustainable? Is this truly aligned with your vision for your life? Stoic philosophy urges us to pause and reflect, to step back and make sure that our decisions are not just reactions to short-term emotions but thoughtful choices that align with our deeper purpose. Stoicism encourages us to act with forethought, to see beyond the immediate and understand the consequences of our actions. It's about not being enslaved by the intensity of the moment, but instead, using reason to guide us toward what's best in the long run. By grounding your relationships in reason, you ensure that they're not just fleeting moments of intensity, but deep, lasting connections built on shared values, mutual respect, and a clear sense of direction. So, the next time passion takes over, take a deep breath and ask yourself, am I making this decision out of reason, or am I just reacting to a wave of emotion? The Stoic way is not about denying your passion, but about using reason to make sure that your actions are aligned with your true self and your long-term goals. It's about finding that balance where passion and reason can work together, creating a relationship that is both exciting and deeply meaningful. 7. Avoiding emotional manipulation. Have you ever felt like someone's emotions were pulling you in a direction you didn't want to go? Maybe it was a partner, a friend, or even a colleague, using guilt, sadness, or anger to get you to act in a way that wasn't aligned with your own values. It's a common experience, and one that can often lead to resentment or confusion. This is where Stoicism offers some crucial wisdom: don't let emotions, either your own or others, control your actions. In relationships, emotional manipulation can take many forms, whether it's someone using guilt to make you feel responsible for their happiness, or even using their vulnerability to get you to sacrifice your own needs. While it's natural to care for others and want to help, Stoicism teaches us that we must never lose sight of our own principles and boundaries. It encourages us to remain grounded, to not react impulsively to emotional pleas, but to make decisions based on logic, reason, and what is truly right for both ourselves and others. Think of a time when you were pressured into agreeing to something that didn't sit well with you. Maybe a partner wanted you to cancel your plans because they were upset, or a friend tried to make you feel guilty for not spending enough time with them. In these situations, emotions can cloud your judgment and make you feel like you have no choice but to comply. But the Stoic approach is all about maintaining your inner clarity, recognizing when emotions are being used to manipulate you and having the strength to stand firm in your own values. By practicing Stoicism, you learn to recognize emotional manipulation and to set clear boundaries, without being harsh or dismissive. It's not about rejecting feelings or shutting people out, but about responding thoughtfully rather than reacting impulsively. This helps you avoid making decisions that will later leave you feeling resentful or compromised. Stoicism encourages healthy emotional detachment, so you can show empathy without letting others control your actions through emotional pressure. Ultimately, avoiding emotional manipulation isn't about being cold or distant, it's about preserving your integrity and treating others with the respect they deserve while staying true to yourself. By relying on reason, clarity, and emotional self-awareness, we can navigate the complexities of relationships without losing ourselves in the process. With a Stoic mindset, you can foster healthier, more balanced dynamics where both parties are free to express themselves authentically, without resorting to manipulation. 8. Prioritizing short-term pleasures over long-term happiness. In the rush of modern life, it's tempting to seek out instant rewards, whether it's avoiding an argument with your partner, saying yes to things you don't truly want to do, or giving in to fleeting desires for the sake of momentary peace. We've all been there, haven't we? The satisfaction of avoiding discomfort, of keeping things smooth in the short term, can feel good in the moment. But what about the long-term effects? Stoicism offers a powerful reminder: true happiness is built on long-term fulfillment, not temporary gratification. The Stoics understood that while it's easy to choose comfort in the present, it often comes at the cost of deeper, more meaningful satisfaction down the road. In relationships, this is especially true. If we constantly prioritize short-term peace, agreeing to things just to avoid conflict or giving in to momentary desires, we might find ourselves trapped in cycles of resentment or dissatisfaction later on. Think about it: you might agree to cancel your plans to keep your partner happy, or avoid expressing a difficult truth to avoid a fight. On the surface, it feels like you're keeping the peace, but deep down, you're compromising your own happiness, needs, and values. The short-term gain is often a long-term loss when it comes to personal integrity and the health of your relationships. Over time, these small sacrifices can build up, eroding trust, respect, and true connection. What the Stoics teach us is that, while uncomfortable at times, making choices based on long-term values and goals leads to deeper fulfillment. It's about making decisions that reflect your true self, even if they feel difficult in the moment. Real happiness comes from living in alignment with your principles, rather than chasing the quick fixes that momentary pleasure offers. When we prioritize what truly matters, authenticity, growth, and mutual respect, over short-term comforts, we create a foundation for relationships that are not just satisfying in the now, but enduring over time. So, the next time you're faced with a choice between avoiding discomfort for the sake of peace or standing by your values, even if it causes temporary friction, remember that Stoicism encourages you to look beyond the immediate moment. The courage to do what's right for the long term, even when it's tough, is what leads to real happiness and fulfillment, both in your relationships and in your life overall. 9. Overcompensating or overgiving. In relationships, it's natural to want to show affection and care, but Stoicism reminds us that balance is key. Have you ever found yourself giving more than you should, hoping that your efforts will be noticed or appreciated? Maybe you've gone out of your way to make your partner happy, sacrificing your own needs in the process. It feels good to show love and care, but here's the problem: when you overcompensate or overgive in an attempt to gain affection or approval, it often leads to an unhealthy imbalance. Stoicism teaches us that relationships should be rooted in mutual respect and reciprocity, not in the pursuit of external validation. When we give, it should come from a place of genuine care, not desperation for approval or fear of rejection. If you're constantly giving, adjusting, or bending over backward without receiving in return, you're not nurturing a balanced, healthy relationship. Instead, you're creating an uneven dynamic where your own needs and boundaries are ignored, and this can eventually lead to feelings of resentment. Think about it: have you ever felt emotionally drained because you gave so much, but never received the same effort in return? That's because overgiving without balance doesn't just harm you, it can harm the relationship too. Instead of deepening the connection, it creates a space where one person is always in the position of giving, while the other takes. Over time, this can breed feelings of resentment, frustration, and even emotional burnout. Stoicism doesn't discourage giving in relationships, it just reminds us that true generosity comes from a place of self-respect. When you offer love, care, or support, make sure it's because you genuinely want to, not because you feel it's a way to earn affection. A healthy relationship is built on the principle of reciprocity, where both individuals contribute, respect each other's boundaries, and create a space where love is freely given and received. So, the next time you feel the urge to give more than you should or go beyond your limits to win affection, take a step back. Reflect on whether you're offering from a place of self-respect or from a need for validation. A fulfilling relationship doesn't come from overcompensating, it comes from both people showing up with their whole selves, without the need to prove their worth through excessive giving. 10. Losing your sense of purpose. In the hustle and flow of relationships, it's all too easy to lose sight of your own goals, dreams, and passions. Have you ever found yourself so wrapped up in someone else's life that you start to forget your own? Maybe you've been so focused on making your partner happy, accommodating their needs, or aligning with their values that you pushed your own ambitions aside. It's not uncommon, but it's also something Stoicism warns us against. At its core, Stoicism teaches us to live a purposeful and meaningful life, one that is guided by our own principles and goals. Relationships should not be about losing yourself or sacrificing your mission in life for someone else. Instead, Stoicism invites us to maintain our sense of purpose and make sure that our relationships complement, not replace, our individual journey. You don't have to abandon your own passions to love and support someone else. In fact, a strong and fulfilling relationship thrives when both partners are committed to their personal growth while also sharing common values and supporting one another's paths. Consider this: if you're constantly pouring all your energy into your partner's goals, dreams, and desires, what's left for your own ambitions? Over time, this can lead to a feeling of emptiness or frustration. You may even begin to feel like you've lost touch with who you really are and what you truly want. Stoicism teaches that personal growth should never be sacrificed, it should be celebrated. A healthy relationship is one where both individuals grow together while honoring their personal journeys. The key is balance. You and your partner should lift each other up, not hold each other back. Think of your relationship as a partnership where both of you are walking toward the same values and vision for life, but each with your own unique path. When both partners are aligned in their purpose and support each other's growth, the relationship becomes not a barrier, but a source of strength for pursuing individual goals. So, if you find yourself veering off course or losing sight of your own purpose for the sake of the relationship, take a moment to reflect. Are you nurturing your own dreams and goals as much as you are investing in the relationship? A truly fulfilling partnership is one where both individuals honor their own purpose, support each other's growth, and inspire each other to reach higher. So, as we wrap up, remember this: Stoicism isn't about rejecting love or relationships, it's about creating balance. By maintaining your sense of self, nurturing your growth, and keeping your values intact, you can build a relationship that is fulfilling, supportive, and rooted in mutual respect. Don't lose yourself for the sake of someone else. If you want to learn more about how Stoic principles can enrich every aspect of your life, be sure to hit the like button, subscribe to the channel, and share this video with anyone who might need a little Stoic wisdom in their relationships. And hey, drop a comment below: what's one Stoic principle you've already started using in your life? I'd love to hear from you. Stay virtuous, and see you next time.